het in het Engels kunnen doen.
Helemaal goed, want ik zag wel een aantal reacties waren in het Engels.
Ja, klopt. Volgens mij kunnen we iedereen toelaten. Zijn jullie zo? Oké.
Kijk.
Vooral, kijk. Morning.
Goeiedag.
Hoi, hoi.
Goeiedag.
Hi.
Goedemorgen.
Goedemorgen.
Ik sta als presenter, maar dat is toch niet de bedoeling, neem ik aan, Lena? Of heb ik iets over het hoofd?
Ik
Nou,
doe even naar Lot kijken, want Lot heeft deze opgestart.
ik zie niet dat jij op presenter staat, maar...
Gefeliciteerd, Peter. Peter is jarig, weet ik toevallig.
Oh, gefeliciteerd.
Dankjewel, Rick. Maar we gaan niet met z'n allen zingen.
Oh jee, dat is een uitnodiging.
Nee.
Oh, Peter, ik hou jou Sylvester, ik hou jou inderdaad weg als...
Top.
Alright. Still a few people in the lobby. This meeting will be recorded, so if you don't like to be shown in the recording, please turn off your camera. We will just wait for a few more minutes and then we will start.
Okay. Please keep yourself muted. Carol,
yeah.
What do you think? Shall we start?
Yeah, start.
All right, before we continue, are there any non-Dutchies in this room before we continue in English, but we can do it? Yeah, I see someone raising his hand, so okay, then we will continue in English. As I said, this meeting will be recorded, so please turn off your camera if you don't like to be seen in this recording. My name is Lot Westerveld, and together with Caro Jongert, who will be presenting as well, we're the program managers of Startup Process EdTech, and we will try to answer all your questions today. The challenge owner of the challenge owners of the challenges are here as well. We will try our best to answer all your questions. There might be a situation where we or the challenge owners don't know the answer to your question right away. In that case, we will dive into it and make sure to give an answer to your question in the information notice that will be published in a few weeks. So one way or the other, we will try to answer all your questions, but it might be the case that it's not today. If you have any questions, it's really important to drop them in the chat. Otherwise, we can't answer them today or later. All right. We will tell you a little bit more about us, about the acceleration program. Who are we as the organization behind the Startup Process EdTech program? We will tell you a little bit more about the Startup Process program, why Startup Process EdTech, what the program for Startup Process EdTech will look like, the most asked questions, some general questions of you guys, and of course all your questions about the challenges. Let's start right away. Karel, the floor is yours.
Thank you.
Lot, ik zie gelijk al een handje trouwens van Sartu.
Oh. So is there any question that can't wait for a later moment?
Sorry, ignore me. It was a mistake. Sorry.
No problem. Then, Caro, the floor is yours.
Thank you. Well, first of all, I see a lot of people joining the information session. So thank you for taking the time today to join us in this session to give you some more information. First, I will tell you a little bit about the background of the acceleration plan and why we actually decided to start this Startup and Residence EdTech pilot. The Startup and Residence EdTech edition fits very well within the acceleration plan because, as you can also read from the slide, the mission of the acceleration plan is to create a space within all the institutions within higher education to collaborate and to make sure that we can make progress in the field of digitalization in higher education. So as you also can see, this 4-year program is almost finished, and within this last year we are actually figuring out if we can use this Startup and Residence program as a part of as a means to innovate better, faster, smarter, and in a new way within higher education to make sure that we can make this tech solutions more accessible for all the institutions. So within the acceleration plan, we have a working group which is EdTech, and specifically in EdTech, we are in this 4-year plan. We are focusing on 3 main points. The first one is building a strong EdTech community, in which there are now over 100 professionals from higher education and EdTech suppliers who are in regular contact, who have meetups, and who are building a network together which facilitates innovation and also contact and just a good conversation on what can EdTech bring to the table in terms of innovation in education. Secondly, there's also a lot of research being done based on innovation and the experimentation process in higher education to facilitate innovation. And these projects you can also read on the acceleration plan websites. They're both in English and also in Dutch. So if you're interested, then you can find them on the page of the EdTech working group. And thirdly, while you're all here, we're setting up a Startup and Residence pilot with a number of institutions to experience how this program can contribute to progressing this innovation in higher education.
Yes, perfect. Thank you, Karel. I'll tell you a little bit more about the Startup Residence program in general. This method is started in Amsterdam by the municipality of Amsterdam in 2015. And the goal of the Startup and Residence method is to make procurement, the procurement process more accessible to small parties and startups and boost the innovation attitude of public institutions. There are more than 20 programs in the Netherlands right now that use this method, and we are piloting with the first educational program. So, how does Startup Residence work? Well, institutions bring in key social challenges. So, we started by asking universities and universities of applied sciences for their challenges. So we ask them, what are the challenges within your organization where EdTech innovation really is needed? out of those challenges, we selected the best. And this meant, for instance, that the challenge needed to be scalable. So that, for instance, the University of Utrecht wasn't the only university with this problem, but an EdTech solution could be scaled to other universities within the Netherlands or Europe. So that's where we started. And now we're asking you guys, the startups, to come up with a solution for those challenges, with the main goal that this university may be your launching customer for this service or product. This means that we will help you during the program to get to that procurement phase, and that we will make sure to follow all the rules of a European tender upfront to make sure that the procurement is possible after your pilot without a new tender process. So that's where there might be a little bit of paperwork upfront, but it will help you to get to that procurement phase if you have a successful pilot with your challenge owner during the Startup Process program. We will get to the time line later on, but Startup Process at a glance. We started by collecting the challenges. Then we got ready, so we prepared the tender process, made sure that all the challenge owners were ready as challenge owner, and we're now looking for the best startups with the best solutions for these challenges. After that, we will match the challenges with the startups, and then we will have a 6-month Startup Process program. But most important about this slide, we're looking for startups for the longer term. So we really want to match startups and challenge owners for the long-term collaboration. So that's more about Startup Process in general, and why Startup Process EdTech. Well, we want to provide higher education institutions with innovative solutions for urgent challenges. We want to introduce a new way of innovative procurement through challenge-driven innovation. We want to create a better connection between startups and challenge owners, and we want to create opportunities for startups and young entrepreneurs. Caro, can you tell everyone a little bit more about what do we offer?
Yes, definitely. So thanks, Lot. We have talked a little bit about why we started this way of procuring and innovating with this program. And as you might have seen in the timeline, a Startup in Residence EdTech will be about 6 months, so about a half-year program. And from the startup side, this is what you can expect from us. During this program, it will take you approximately 1 day a month, apart from the time you spend with your challenge owner or potential client to co-create your solution towards a sustainable solution for their challenge. So we ask a time investment from you, but of course you also get a lot in return. So we built this program, as we said, to make sure that we can make the connection and boost innovation for the longer term. And what we're trying to realize in the 6 months is basically making sure that you have all the tools to be able to develop a solution for which at the end, if successfully, you don't have to enter new procurement. You don't have to do the procurement again. So then the launching customer can actually purchase your solution. And during this 6-month program, you will have access to a business mentor, not only on an educational side, but also on the business side of your startup or young company. So we make sure that we have people who know the drills of building a business and not only building a product, or know the education side. We also have workshops, but these workshops also depend on the needs of the startups or the participants who in the end enter the program, so we have a little bit of room in there also to adjust the program towards what the people who actually enter the program need. And of course, you have 6 months to prove that your solution also works for the challenge owner, and that you can actually establish a longer-term solution and longer-term relationship with this challenge owner. I'm just checking if I missed anything here.
Maybe the first point.
Yes, good point, Lot. Of course, what is also quite a unique experience in the startup in residence format is that because you work together with your potential launching customer, they also have give you full access to their knowledge and expertise about the field, about what they actually need, to make sure that your service or product is actually helpful to them, and that what we know from startups or sometimes product building, it's very difficult sometimes to get out of your own assumptions and just start building a product because you think people need it, and instead of that you can make use of all the knowledge and expertise that you have access to in this program, so that you are actually building something that they really will help them solve their challenge. I think that's it for this slide.
All right.
Yes. So if we go back again to the timeline, as Lot said, we're in the get ready phase right now. The procurement is open now until the 5th of July. And then we will start the 6-month program after that. But bear in mind that we also have the summer and the procurement phase after that. So it will take quite some time before we actually kick off, which will be on the 20th of October. So as you can see, there are a lot of deadlines in between. That means that on July 5th at 12 p.m. the deadline for the tender submission is there. Please, if you are considering handing in an application, take enough time to apply and don't wait until the last minute. I know what it's like. I also know that it's very tempting that if you're enthusiastic, that you will wait a little more, because there are always more urgent things than an application for a tender. But I really want to ask you to take enough time for your application, because it's going to help you in the end. And then we have 2 weeks to assess all the applications that came in for all the different challenges, and we will let you know after that when you are invited to the present and to pitch actually your challenge. And there also the challenge owners come in. They will also be part of the evaluation team. And there's time to pitch your solution or to the challenge to us and the challenge owners, and we will evaluate that. If you want to know on what criteria you will get evaluated, I'm looking to that, but I think this is also present in the tender, right?
Yeah, it's all in the descriptive document on Negometrix.
Yeah, so no surprises there. You can prepare very well. Actually, you know what we will be rating the solution on. And then we have until the 23rd of September to announce which parties will continue in the program. And I hope we will have a big party on October 20th to kick off with all the challenge owners, startups, and all the partners who are involved in this program. And we will actually also start. And that means that from then on, until the end of March, you will have the program where you will be guided by your business mentor. You will have several meetups with your challenge owner. You will have workshops, and you will also have interventions with different startups to learn from each other's experiences as well. And on the end of March, you will have a demo day, which basically is the end of the 6-month program where you can showcase your progress also to other universities. So it's definitely a good way to show and to make other universities of applied sciences and universities to let them get to know your product or service. And we hope, of course, if the co-creation was successful and you have established a good relationship, that you will continue working together with the institution towards a good solution for their challenge. So that's a little bit about the timeline. Do you have anything to add, Lot?
Well, maybe the most important dates on the short term. So make sure to check the descriptive document before of the standard before the closing date of the questions and comments on the 16th of June. Because if you want to ask a question, you have to do that before the 16th of June. And after that, we will publicate all the answers on those questions on June 23rd.
Yes, correct. So that is also why we ask every one of you to put all the questions in the chat, because these questions will also be published online, so that everyone is able to get the same information that you will get right now.
Yes.
Okay.
All right. And we continue to one of the most asked questions. And I already saw a question in the chat about this. What is a startup? So what are the requirements for a startup? Well, two of the most important requirements are that you may not have been registered for more than 6 years with the Dutch Chamber of Commerce or the Kamer van Koophandel or any equivalent office in the country of in your own country, and that the company may not have more than 20 salaried people within the organization. If you're a startup that's started from an other company, then that other company isn't allowed to have 250 employees or more. And of course, you must possess a minimal viable product, a prototype, a beta version, something like that, because otherwise we can't conduct a pilot within the 6 months of this program. So that about the requirements for startup. Another question that we got a lot was, how much time does the application process take? And yeah, I hate this answer, but it depends. There are a lot of common questions that you need to answer for your application, and some specified for the challenge and for your solution. So it actually depends on what you already have written down and ready to use. But nevertheless, Karel already said it, make sure to start on time. You will not be the first startup who missed the deadline by just a few minutes. And it's a hard deadline, so we can't give you any slack with that. And for the last frequently asked question, can I also apply together with another startup? Yes, you can. Either as a combination or in a main contractor-subcontractor relationship. Check the information at paragraph 4.2 in the descriptive document of this standard for more information about this. I see a lot of questions coming into the chat. We will answer them later during this presentation. Well, we actually are answering them now. This was sooner than I thought.
Lot, shall I recap the questions that you can clarify the general ones?
Yeah, that's great.
I saw the question from Philippine. Could you clarify what is a small company? I think we covered that, Philippine. If you need more specifics, I think we can find this in the tender. But yeah, if it's not clear, just let us know, and I will continue to the next question. Will there also be a budget allocated to the 6-month period?
There will be a budget, but it's a pilot budget. So if you need to, for instance, buy extra server space specifically for this pilot, then the challenge owner has a budget to help you with this cost. There's still someone joining in the lobby. But you won't be paid for your hours or the time you invest. You can better see it as a really hot lead. So the aim for you, why you should join the program, is definitely for the longer term. So see it as a hot lead before you close a really big deal, hopefully at the end of this program. And as a validation process. So if you're still trying to figure out what the details of your solution should be, then this is your chance to co-create that together with your challenge owner. Farina, does this answer your question?
Yes, it does. Thank you so much.
All right, perfect.
Okay, so next question. I think this is more common. Some documents are ready for download or empty and not in English. We will recheck that, Ivan. If you could specify to us which document you're talking about, then it makes our life a lot easier, but thanks for noticing that.
Yeah, there were some texts that didn't really translate it well, and we checked them earlier this week, and we translated them. So I hope that this helps you with at least some of your points, but we will check the documents as well.
And then we have 4 questions from Jos. So thank you for paying a lot of attention. And I will start with the first one. Some of the challenges said we could own the IP, others did not specify this. Can you please clarify the blanket rule for IP ownership? I presume your terms and conditions documents overrules all. This document states that the startup continues to own the IP.
Yeah, we did come up with an algemene voorwaarden, so that's probably what you're mentioning with the terms and conditions document. And we will come back to this question later on because I don't want to create any fuss about this, but for as far as I know, the IP ownership will be at the startup, but we will check this and we'll let you know in the publication of the notice.
Yes. Would you be able to please clarify the budget for the entire 6 to 12 months? I think we covered that. If you have more questions about that, please let us know. Lotte, you have anything to add on that one?
No, we don't say how much that pilot budget there is because we know out of experience that we will get a lot of how do you say it? Most of the startups will ask the full budget, but if you need any help during your pilot for the pilot costs, you can ask your challenge owner. And after that, it's a European tender, so the tender amounts for European tender will count for this one.
Yeah. And just maybe to specify for the budget, we have arranged this with all the challenge owners in advance because we know 6 months is a short time. So if you want to do a pilot, we can move very quickly on that part.
Yeah, they already reserved the pilot budget.
3, are you able to please clarify if the universities are going to work with more than one startup?
Well, they have the possibility to work with more than one startup, but they will only do so if, 1, they have the space to guide 2 startups during the program, and 2, if both solutions don't bite each other. So we will have to make sure that they will that they will match and that they will help each other instead of we don't want them to compete. So we can't clarify which university are working with more than one startups because we will have to find out that during the selection process. But if you're selected, we will make sure that you're not competing with the other startup joining the same challenge, if that might be the case.
Okay, perfect. Why did I lose the chat? Here, yes. Okay, perfect. And then the final question, how many in-person sessions and commitments are there? As in, does the entire team need to have to be in the Netherlands at all times?
Well, no, they don't have to be in the Netherlands at all times. And I think COVID learned us that hybrid is maybe the new world, but there are some meetups where it's wanted to be in the Netherlands. So for instance, during the kickoff session, we would like you to be in the Netherlands and just be there. And there are a few more meetups where it's really helpful if you're at least joining in real life. But I can't say how many sessions there really are, but we will host a workshop day once a month. And next to that, you have a few more events like a deep dive, kickoff, demo day, that kind of things.
Yeah, so basically, we are remaining flexible on that part because we want the best possible solutions to be able to join the program. And if that means that the startup is not in the Netherlands, that is okay because it's a European tender. But we would really, really appreciate it if the startup could at least attend, and not the entire startup, but some the people who are most involved in the program in the Netherlands and at some point. So the kickoff is an important part. I think it would be desirable to meet the challenge owner in person at least once at the start of the program. And we know a lot of that is possible digitally after that. But we're also remaining flexible on that because we will only know how many of the startups will actually be stationed in the Netherlands after the application closes. So we have some room there to adjust the program based on the applications and the locations. And I think it also depends a lot on what your solution offers and what kind of pilot you're going to do during the program. So it also depends a lot on what you want to put into the program and what you can get out of it. Yes. What is the quality requirement for the MVP or prototype?
Well, we don't have that specified, but the reason why this is part of the requirements for a startup is because we're aiming to conduct a pilot within those 6 months. So it depends. And you should be able to conduct a pilot. We're not just a contest for great ideas. We're in the next phase. So you should be ready to conduct a pilot within those 6 months.
Yes. I hope, Philippine, that answers your question. So I know that you have some more questions asked, so I'll just continue to those. And if you need more specification on this, please let us know. So you say basically it's delivering an unpaid service to a potential customer. Lot, can you elaborate on that?
Sorry, on what?
Philippine says basically it's delivering an unpaid service to a potential customer.
Well, as I said, you should see it as a really hot lead. It's not fully unpaid because there is a pilot budget. And well, you should see it as as a part of the negotiation process for the longer term. So it's a pilot that should definitely help you, because otherwise, if you're already ready, set, go to just sell your product, then the startup process program isn't for you, because you should need the pilot to develop your product or service any further. If you don't need that anymore, then you're ready to just sell your product and you don't need a program as we're offering.
Yeah.
Any additions to that, Kyle?
Yeah, I'm with Lot on that one. I already mentioned it in earlier on in the previous slides. And I totally agree that if you have a ready-to-sell product, then I don't think Startup in Residence is the right program for you. We're really looking towards challenge-based innovation. So and the co-creation process is a very important part of this. So we've seen with previous editions of Startup in Residence programs with other institutions such as municipalities and provinces that the information and the data and the expertise that you can get out of the program working together with the potential customer can really set up your business for success and your product. And it is of invaluable information that you can get out of this program to make sure that you can develop your product or service actually to what the market needs. So that is what how I would consider it. And as we said, there is a pilot budget. So we don't ask you to invest money in this program. We ask you to invest time. And I think with every big lead, you need to invest some time to make sure that this will be one of your first potential customers. So that is how I would explain it. I wouldn't say it is unpaid service, because if your service is already ready to pay, then you can also just contact the institutions and use a regular procurement system. And we've worked very hard to make sure that we can build a procurement system where your service is not 100% ready yet, but we can make sure that your product or service is 100% market fit. And that you have access to the information to make sure that you can develop this further. So I hope that that answers the question on that part. Okay, perfect. Thank you. Let's see. I have to look for the yes, and regarding the IT ownership.
Yeah, we will get back to that.
We have to make an official answer for that, and we do have some idea, but I'm not sure if we say that now that it's exactly the right one, and I don't want to give you false information. So give us some time to make a correct answer on that, and then we'll get back to that as soon as possible.
I think these were all the general questions. Is that correct? Or still any questions that we did not answer? All right.
Okay, shall we move on to the challenges then?
Yeah.
Perfect. So for the rest of this meeting, we will have time to answer questions on specific challenges. So far, these have been questions mainly about the program in general. We will go through each of the challenges one by one. And if you have a question for your specific challenges which you are interested in, please put them in the chat as stated on the slide, so we can make sure that we don't skip any of your questions. And then most of the challenge owners are here, so we can also ask them to elaborate on the challenge.
Perfect. Shall we continue to the first challenge?
Yeah. So Yeah, now we get to the fun part. This is kind of playing a game on television, but is there any question for challenge number 1?
I think.
Okay. Challenge number 2? Nope. Okay.
Nope. All right, we'll continue to challenge number 3. I feel like we're hosting a bingo, Karel.
Yeah, it is. No one bingo yet. Let's go to challenge number 4. Awkwardly silent. Okay. Can someone ask a question? So please, challenge number 5. I can't imagine that we wrote everything down that clear, but okay, we can go to challenge number 6. This is going fast. Nope.
Nope. Okay.
Okay.
Well.
Then we have the final challenge, challenge number 7. This went by a lot faster than I thought.
Peter, you can definitely ask a question about your own challenge, but I don't think that is what this meeting is meant for. So still no questions about challenge number 7. Ah, perfect. Thank you for this compliment.
Thanks. I think that's a compliment. So also a compliment and a big applause to the challenge owners, because that means we did a really good job on that one. Then we do one final round for the final questions. If you have them now, please put it in the chat, because otherwise we will make sure that we will round off this.
Hey, we have a question about the challenge. Sartu, can you please put your question in the... Are teachers involved in the program? Caro, I think this is a question that we can ask the challenge owner.
Definitely. I think that is this...
IJspand, are you here?
Yes, I'm here. And I'm happy to get the single question here, or maybe we did a worse job. That's possible. But if I would say no, it would be ridiculous, because this is there to help teachers. And if you don't ask them like, hey, is this helpful? It would be a terrible co-creation situation. And in preparation, we committed ourselves to arranging for a representative selection of teachers to be involved during the track. So yes, definitely, they are the end all. I wouldn't say that. Of course, the end all is students, but we're really directed at teachers. Is that clear enough for you?
To me, it was very clear, IJspand, so thank you.
Yeah.
I would like to add on that this is the case, I think, for almost all the challenges. However, most of the challenge owners are not the people who only teach, but a lot of the innovation programs from the institutions are involved in this program because of 2 reasons. One, teachers most of the time don't have the amount of hours to make sure that they can keep in contact with the startups during the program, because they have to teach, but they are very narrowly involved in the entire process. And when we are setting up the pilot, we do want to make sure that the expertise and actually the people who will benefit the most from your solution are very heavily involved in this process, but they're mostly not the persons who will be your contact person within the organization. And 2, because the innovation programs also know what is going on within the rest of the institution concerning maybe new tools, more EdTech solutions, other innovations. So they know their way around the institution, and in the end we believe that this will help you and will benefit you making sure that you get best out of your time during the program. Okay.
Well, we even have 2 more questions, so let's go back to challenge 4.
Okay, shall I address that?
Yeah.
Yes, I'm aware that there's quite a bit of technology that is related to what we want to do. And as I'm writing in a more specific answer that will go out to all of you, we also expect some innovation around the way we use that and the business model and the way we operate. More specifically, we think that we need to give teachers control over at least part of the learning material that is going to be part of the solution. And we also want to have extensive understanding of the behavior of students as they do that, because we want to innovate on the say student learning experience. So learning analytics, so to say. So to bring that whole idea of cybersecurity to the next level, and we don't really want to depend on a fixed set of learning content that we don't have a lot of visibility in how it's being consumed. That's, I think, the thing that we cannot find in the market right now. And if we, and even if we would find it, we'd probably find some new ways to innovate on top of that. So I hopefully that gives you an answer. So it will be building on existing technology. I mean, cyber ranges are not a new thing. We want to use them in a much more advanced way when it comes to understanding and improving cybersecurity education.
Serena, does that answer your question?
Actually, I have one more question, if possible.
Yes, please put it in the chat so other people can also read it if they are not able to attend the information session. That would be great.
Yes, I will add it, but I also would like to say it verbally. Just maybe I receive an answer. So actually, this cyber range would actually complete the current cybersecurity curriculum that the teachers are teaching in the university, or is something separate?
I think we want to make this an integral part of our cybersecurity education program, and we will further develop our cybersecurity educational programs by incorporating such a service.
And the focus is mainly on web application, like it's the most common, or it doesn't really matter?
That's, I think, part of the co-creation phase to see where our needs are and where our needs will evolve into.
Okay, thank you. I will add also the question in the chat. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Then we will skip to challenge 5. Bram asked a question about, is the challenge also about recruiting external stakeholders or only the tool to facilitate the matching collaboration?
I think we have Sabine in the chat. Maybe you can answer this question.
Yeah, sure. I'm in the meeting indeed. Thank you, Bram, for this question. The purpose of the challenge is indeed the matching, so that's where our emphasis is. But we are open to looking into whether this can be used for recruiting as well. But that will not be the main goal. So the main goal is indeed if there are already external stakeholders with a specific challenge for the students, then the matching can be more easily made. So that's the main purpose. But if we think about further implementing such a tool for the longer run, it's really interesting to also think about the recruitment part in the tool. So yeah, I think that's. I hope that answers your question.
Yeah, it does. So yeah, so basically to facilitate the matchmaking process That's what you're looking for.
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
And
that is our main goal. Yeah, because the external world as well as our internal world in the university are really widespread, and there is not one single point of contact on both sides now. So this tool should actually make that communication between the higher education institute and the external world way easier.
Yeah.
We could even use it for the next round of this whole startup in residence, if possible.
Yeah. All right, thanks.
Perfect. Short 2, are we allowed to use customer references in application? I'm not sure what you mean by this question. Can you maybe specify that?
No, I was just saying, wondering like if we can basically show if we have a proposing on how we can address this challenge, also like show how we already proven it with some customer projects.
So can this be part of your application is your question?
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. If you have the space within the text blocks to put this somewhere, you're free to use that.
Okay.
Yes, definitely.
Philippine, and how far is it an issue if the CEO of a startup sets a payer at a project owner? What do you mean by this question? Is the CEO of your startup still sets a payer? Is that a question?
Yeah, my question is, I'm examiner at Hogeschool Utrecht, and I see that their product owner is at the place where I'm also part-time employed. I could, of course, resign.
Oh, no.
Is it necessary to resign because I'm working part-time just for a couple of hours per week at Hogeschool Utrecht? So I could resign if that's necessary.
Well, we don't ask a full-time CEO. That's not one of the requirements for the Startup Residence program. As long as you can convince us that you have the time to join the program, that you're committed to the program, and that you invest enough time.
Yeah, because of Peter is saying a conflict of interest. Because he's reporting to the same person I'm reporting to. And I'm now actually at Fontis for a project. We are. So anyway.
Yeah, I understand.
And for a pilot of the same product.
Luister, misschien moeten we hier even op terugkomen als we weten hoe de relatie precies zit.
Ja.
Ja, want dan komen we er even bij jou op terug en dan gaan we even kijken hoe het zit inderdaad. Want wilde net typen van, het kan belangenverstrengeling inderdaad zijn. Dus daar moeten we even de juridische kant van bekijken.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, in English. So we will get back to you about that because we need to look at the conflict of interest part. Yes.
I saw Bram had one more question for Sabine about challenge number 5. If the CRM feature is also relevant for this challenge.
Sabine, can you?
Yeah, and the answer was yes. And I already put it in the chat as well.
Okay,
that's
perfect.
Clear.
Yeah, okay. Okay. So that also brings us, that was the final question that was still in the chat that we hadn't answered yet. So if you do have any more questions, this is your final chance to ask them now. And otherwise, I would like to thank you all very much for your time being here and for all your participation. I think we were able to answer a lot of questions, and I hope we could clarify what this program can bring to you.
Oh, Elena says.
Yeah, can I? The chat option doesn't appear in my Microsoft Teams option, so that's why I raised my hand for it, because I still have 2 questions for I don't know the number of the challenge, but for the evaluation response rates. And I would like to ask Lot if she could put my question into the chat so that you have them also there. And my first question for that challenge is it possible to elaborate a bit more on how big the problem exactly is? So how urgent is it? Why is it I can imagine that from one point it is a problem that you can get enough feedback, but are there also other reasons why it is a problem? Are you, for example, obligated to measure feedback? And how does that look? That's my first question. And my second question is that I see that that they also implemented a new evaluation tool, and that the effect of that was that the response rate deteriorated even further. And I'm curious to learn more about what was that solution? How did it look? What were the experiences with that? Those are two of my questions for challenge 1.
Yeah, good question, Inge. Thank you. I think we did have Inge in the chat. Let me see if she...
Yes, I'm here.
Perfect.
I put on my camera, but it's not a question that I can give a quick answer on. So I can give a broad answer, and the question 1, the response rate now is like only 10 to 15%. The questions which are asked are the moment they ask the question or the feedback is after or before the assessment, and people fill out the evaluation so that when it's before to have a good grade. So that's one moment, and a very important and the most why I think is that now the cycle of having feedback and giving it back to the teacher and then really do something within the program with it, that's the main problem. So the students don't see the reason why they need to fill out the evaluation. So that's why I think it's very low. But teachers don't use the feedback they've got from the students because it's very low and they don't see the added value of it. So I think that's the main problem, but we didn't have the research on this specific for this specific programs. And your second question was, can you ask it again, please? It's about a new evaluation tool and...
Jamie, you're still on mute. Let me help you by unmuting you. I'm not allowed to.
Fima, can you unmute yourself?
No.
Can someone help me with the question again?
Yeah.
What it was exactly?
Can you tell a little bit more about the method you used that made the response rates even drop even more? Is that correct, Fima? Yeah, that was the question.
Yeah, and I need to find out, because then I have to ask the team of the current tool. I cannot tell you that.
Okay, we will get back to that on the notice.
Okay.
All right, so was this the final question, or are there still people with other?
Then I think we are just in time, so maybe Lot, if we can go to the final slide, then we have once more the important dates for you to know now. If you want to apply, make sure that you apply before July 5th, 12 p.m. As Lot stated, this is a very hard deadline. It is an official procurement system that we are in, so we cannot give you any slack. So make sure you start on time, because we would really like the possibility to work with you. And of course, if you don't have enough time to hand it in, that's just a shame of not participating. So please, please, please start on time. If you have any more questions, please ask them through the official canals in the Geometric, so we can make sure that we can give you a clear answer. I hope this helped for you, and of course we hope to see your application. And I would like to thank all the challenge owners, also the challenge owners that didn't get a question, for their participation today and their presence today. And that's it from us, I think. Look, do you have anything more to add?
Nope. Thank you for joining today.
Thank you.
Bye.
Doei, bedankt.
Bedankt.
Allemaal.
Bedankt. Fijne dag verder.
Alright, ik ben even aan het kijken hoe ik nu deze vergadering, hoe ik de opname weer stop.